Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Will Hinder, an IRS enrolled agent and financial planner. And as your virtual financial advisor, I'm here to help you minimize taxes, make smarter investments, and build reliable retirement income. And today I've got a 54 and a 53-year-old married couple, and they're asking the question, we have 7 years left on our mortgage, can we retire once it's paid off? And this is a great question that we get some variation of all the time, since my firm works with many individuals and families preparing for retirement and getting ready for that next stage of life. So first we're going to look at the base case on the whiteboard, and then we'll jump into the software to get some really detailed answers for them. And this process is exactly what we do for all of our clients to help them be 100% certain about retiring and being able to live comfortably in retirement, making sure that your portfolio can withstand the ups and downs and anything your life or the markets has to throw at it. Because remember, it's not just about getting to retirement, we also need to get through retirement. So let's dive right in. This scenario is for Michael, 54, who's a civil engineer, and he's tired of working in all the bureaucracy and wants out. And Sophia, 53, who's a nurse practitioner who loves her job but wants to retire when her husband does so they can spend time together. However, she's open to working part-time if needed. They also have 2 adult children who are self-sufficient, and Michael and Sophia would like to potentially leave an inheritance for them if possible. Michael grosses $95,000 per year, and Sophia grosses $110,000 per year in their W-2 jobs. And they've only ever invested in their workplace retirement plans and have built up some healthy tax-deferred money. Michael has $285,000 in his 401k and contributes $1,375 per month, which will end at retirement. And Sophia has $320,000 in her 403b and also contributes $1,375 per month that will also end at retirement. They also have $45,000 in cash emergency fund for a broken car, broken arm, broken fridge, and their home's worth $480,000. And they expect it to be paid off a few months before they retire, and they don't have any other debt, which is great. They currently spend about $8,000 per month on pre-retirement living expenses, including the mortgage, which, remember, will be paid off a few months before retirement. And we're going to assume their expenses in retirement are not much lower than they are now, except for the mortgage payment, because we find that most people actually don't spend much less in retirement. We're also assuming 3% for inflation on that spending, and the 111-year average has been closer to about 3.25%. And in the near term, inflation still could come in a little bit hot, but I feel comfortable starting at that 3%. For investment return assumptions, we're going to come in very conservative at 6%, while the S&P 500 has returned 10% on average over the last century. The real return is much closer to 7% when adjusted for inflation. They're both considering claiming Social Security at age 62, and there's nothing wrong with claiming early if it fits your plan. Claiming at 62 can make it easier to retire earlier, but it could also significantly shrink your checks, by 30% to be exact. So according to the most recent data from the Social Security Administration, the average benefit at age 62 is $1,341 per month, and most Americans do start claiming at age 62. And for context, the average benefit at age 67 is $1,929 per month. At age 70, that average is $2,148 per month. So in other words, delaying benefits from 62 to 70 results in an additional $807 per month for the average retiree. And most financial experts recommend waiting until 70 to maximize those benefits. However, I believe the decision is personal and really just depends on an individual's goals, health, and family longevity. Hence the term personal finance. You won't find any one-size-fits-all advice here. And since they haven't started claiming yet, we'll use the age 62 for both in this case. Now let's go down to the software and look at this can we retire scenario for Michael, 54, and Sophia, 53. Can they retire at 62? Will they run out of money? And are they on track for retirement? Okay, this is the software we use to craft our retirement analysis for all of our clients. Now we got Michael and Sophia, and his gross monthly income is $7,916 per month, with a 3% salary increase each year. And hers is $9,166 per month, also with a 3% salary increase each year, with a desired retirement date of August 2032 for both of them, when Michael turns 62 and Sophia's almost 60 and a half. Now for Social Security, remember, they're considering claiming at age 62 to help retire earlier without spending down as many investment assets early on in their retirement. And there are over 6,000 Social Security claiming combinations and for a married couple. And claiming strategies are a little beyond the scope of this video, but for Michael, his benefit at age 62 is $1,382 per month, and Sophia's is $1,406 per month at age 62. Over here on the asset tab, Michael has $285,000 in his 401k and has been contributing $1,375 per month to the pre-tax side and gets a 3% match from his employer. And many 401k plans now have the option of being able to contribute to a Roth 401k for tax-free growth and income, which I've encouraged Michael to do, so he can really build up a nice chunk of tax-free money in his last 7 years working. The only caveat is that his match will still go to the pre-tax side of the Roth instead of the Roth side of his 401k, so his employer can still get that deduction. And if you have the Roth option at work in your 401k, I strongly recommend looking into it, unless your income is high enough to warrant the pre-tax contributions. Now, if you have any questions about any of this, go to my website, www.pursuitstreetadvisors.com, and grab some time so we can discuss. Sophia has a 403b with $320,000 in it that she also contributes $1,375 per month and gets a 3% match from her employer as well. Now, these tax-deferred accounts will be tax time bombs in retirement, meaning that once RMDs or required minimum distributions start, it'll create a forced withdrawal scenario, meaning higher taxes. And these accounts would be prime targets for Roth conversions in early retirement, if it made sense. But we're not really going to get into that today. They also have a joint emergency fund of $45,000 in a money market, and this is about 6 months of living expenses for them. And it's sufficient while they're still working. However, once they start retirement, we'll want a much larger bucket of cash for living expenses. So keeping this in mind, this money can go in a money market or high yield savings account and generate a little extra interest each year as well. Their primary home is worth about $480,000, and they owe $120K on it and expect it to be paid off in 7 years before they retire. They intend to live out their lives here, and this asset could potentially be passed to the next generation or sold for long-term care expenses in later years if needed. So now we know their investments earmarked for retirement spending equals $650,000. Now, we're going to assume a portfolio rate of return of 6% to stay very conservative and make sure they can reliably generate retirement income all the way out to age 100. And I know this says 5.88%, but that's averaging rates of return on the home and money market. But invested funds will be projected at a 6% rate of return. And since they are nearing the fragile decade, which is the 5 years before and 5 years after retirement, we want to be very cautious with their investments because large losses during this time can be devastating for the portfolio. Michael and Sophia's current monthly expenses are $8,000 per month, and that includes their mortgage that'll be paid off in 7 years, saving them $2,100 a month. And with inflation coming in at 3.26% for the 111-year average, and let me show you that here real quick. And so you can see that over the last 10 years, inflation's been about 3%. And so we feel comfortable coming in at 3%. And once the house is paid off and accounting for inflation, we're going to need about $7,000 per month once they hit retirement in August of 2032. Once we come over to taxes, we can see that they're in the 22% bracket and made just under $205,000 gross income. They contributed $33,000 to their qualified retirement accounts and took the married filing jointly standard deduction of $30,000, which brings their taxable income to $143,603. And you can see there's no state tax liability since they're located in my home state of Nevada, which has no state income tax. And since we work with clients from all over the U.S., there are currently 9 states with no state income tax. And like I mentioned before, this plan isn't factoring in any tax planning like Roth conversions. So if we look out to the year of 2053, after their RMDs start, we can see that they're still in a pretty high tax bracket. And their taxes really aren't that much lower than during their working years. So there could be some room for improvement there, but this is just a base case scenario. And even though they're in the 22% bracket, their projected federal tax rate is about 10% after deductions and credits. If we come over here to the pre-retirement tab, here's where Michael and Sophia are right now, almost age 55 and age 53. And you can see gross monthly salary, retirement contributions, and their expenses, and that they are cash flow positive at the end of each month. And Michael and Sophia have been working their way up in their jobs for years. And although they live a fun, active life, they're not living outside of their means. They have really good income and no debt, and could even take a portion of their extra cash each month and reposition to a taxable brokerage account for additional retirement funds. So over here, you can see that they're starting their plan with $650,000 in spendable assets. And after all those years of making contributions, you can see that when they retire, they'll have $1.3 million with a conservative 6% rate of return. So now we're in retirement. We finally made it. And you can see here, Michael, age 62, and now Sophia, age 60. And you can see that he starts claiming Social Security here, and then 2 years later, Sophia starts hers. Our expenses are about $7,100 per month at the start of retirement due to inflation. And our net monthly cash flow is the amount we'll need to make up by spending from retirement accounts. And you can see that even with spending this much each month from the retirement accounts, that the portfolio value keeps going up and up each year, even with a conservative 6% rate of return. However, we know that in real life, getting a steady 6% each year just won't happen. So what if we throw in some variable returns into the mix and add in a negative sequence of returns right from the start? So you can see here on the right, they experience a few bad years in the market at the start of retirement while withdrawing funds from the accounts. A real double whammy. And you can see that if we scroll down here, when they get to the end, they still have a couple $100,000, and they would still be able to make it to and through retirement, but the end results are much different, with about a $1.2 million ending difference in the accounts. After going through our planning process, we can reasonably expect Michael and Sophia to be able to retire at age 62 and 60 respectively, if they so choose. And they're doing exactly what I want to see my clients do, which is make contributions while you're still working, invest to outpace inflation, and have the ability to create reliable retirement income. I hope Michael and Sophia's story has inspired you. They're at $650,000 right now and are projected to have $1.3 million when they retire because they have a plan and are doing the right things now. And you might say, but they already have $650,000. Well, I have clients that started out with zero and have millions today because they're taking action, they're following the plan, and they're doing the right things today. And you can do the same. I want to take your retirement from, will I have enough to retire, to, will I have enough to retire? So if you want my help, just like Michael and Sophia did, go to my website, pursuitstreetadvisors.com, or click the link down below to schedule some time so we can build a personalized retirement plan that will help you lower taxes, invest smarter, and retire better. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button if you want more of this content.